In a not very surprising development, President Donald Trump has decided to pardon yet another person who has been convicted of fraud. Yes, that's right. It's almost like frauds of a feather tend to stick together. This kind of reminds me of another fraudster that Trump had pardoned, Steve Bannon, who literally defrauded people with the "we build the wall" thing. Yeah. So now this time, the president issued a full and unconditional pardon for former Las Vegas City Councilwoman Michele Fiore, who was convicted in October of last year on 6 counts of wire fraud and 1 count of conspiracy to commit wire fraud. A federal jury found that Fiore solicited about $70,000 in donations she said would go towards a memorial statue honoring slain Las Vegas police officers, but instead used the funding for basic living expenses, funding her daughter's wedding, and even to get a little bit of plastic surgery. You know, gotta touch things up here a little bit. Hey, I thought that they were supposed to be going after waste, fraud, and abuse. We found it. We found it. We found it. And here's the thing, right? Doge, for all the so-called waste, fraud, and abuse that they found, no one has been charged. But when you actually have issues of fraud that have actually happened, like in this case, the prosecution against this person doesn't get dropped, just gets overruled by a presidential pardon. I mean, that's the reality, okay? That's how much Republicans and Donald Trump care about rule of law, all right? Now, the pardon, which was signed on Wednesday, was revealed in a court filing shortly after she announced it in a Facebook post on Thursday. Today, she said, "I stand before you, not just as a free woman, but as a vindicated soul." Wait, that getting a pardon does not mean that you are vindicated, okay? There is an admission of guilt here, okay? But the thing is, she's just not going to get punished for what she did. Fiore had been scheduled to be sentenced on May 14th. Each count of wire fraud carried a potential sentence of up to 20 years in prison. She was facing a potential 100 years. 100 years! Well, not anymore. No. Now, that kind of explains why the post was later taken down. Okay, vindication, not so much. No. This lady raised money in 2019 and 2020 for a statue to honor these Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department officers named Alan Beck and Igor Soldo, who were killed in the line of duty back in 2014. Federal prosecutors said Fiore told the donors, including then Clark County Sheriff Joe Lombardo, who is Nevada's current Republican governor, that the money would be used to fund the statue. But the thing is, the statue already had funding. There was a private firm that paid for it. And so, oh, look, it was already paid for. Now what? I guess instead of returning it to the donors like she should have, she pocketed the cash. And at her trial, prosecutors presented evidence that none of the donations Fiore raised went towards that project. Jurors ended up deliberating as a result of this evidence, right? They deliberated for less than 2 hours, following an 8-day trial at the federal courthouse in Las Vegas. And so it did not take them long. It did not take them long at all. Following her conviction, Fiore tried to get another trial, but it didn't work. Didn't work. Look, here's the thing. She is so obviously guilty of this that there wasn't a point in getting another trial. It would just end up the same way. Now, during that time, of course, she had been suspended from her post as a Nye County Justice Court judge in July of 2024. However, on Thursday, she said that it is her intention to return to the bench. Imagine if they allowed her to do that. A convicted and then pardoned criminal sitting on the bench. So to be fair, you know what? I see this a good possibility that this would happen. That she would be allowed to get back on, because guess what? We have a president who is also a convicted criminal. And he got to be president again after being convicted. So we live in a time where there are no consequences for you if you are a white Republican. That's it. Now, if you're Hispanic or if you're liberal, oh yeah, you better watch out. We may end up disappearing you off the street and sending you to a concentration camp in El Salvador. This is the rule of law in Trump's America. It doesn't exist for you anymore. And if you are a person who rules like Donald Trump, then you are now, thanks to the Supreme Court and thanks to Republican cowardness, you're absolutely above the law. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, subscribe, hit the bell icon in order to get notified whenever a new video is released. And if you want to support independent, progressive media through this difficult time where it seems like everybody is shutting down, you can become a member on our YouTube page, you can become a subscriber on Facebook, or you can go to my Patreon. It's patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf. Thank you.